You shall just come to and it goes to the other agencies. Nice.
Well, that's all good stuff.
I don't want to get. Yeah.
It's okay.
I think I just put the humming in the background.
What's that?
Microphone for no reason.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Can't let the information on this out. Are
Yes, that's-
you gonna give these as book for Angela?
Yeah, she's not. She thought she.
She's online.
She's online right now.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
So she'll say something. Ready?
Yep.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Clausen?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Graven? Here. Mr. Phipps?
Here.
Mayor Hall?
Here. Consent agenda. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will occur unless a council member requests the item to be removed from the consent agenda. If an item is removed from the consent agenda, it will be considered elsewhere on the agenda for this meeting. Prior to asking for a motion to approve the consent agenda, the mayor will ask if anyone desires to remove an item from the consent agenda for public discussion. Does anybody want to remove an item for discussion? Hearing none, I move the minutes of the regular meeting of May the 2nd, 2023, the bills and payroll for the first half of May 2023, and the bills for the mayor's travel training at the IML Lobby Day expenses be approved. And a second to that motion.
Second.
And any discussion? So roll call.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Graven?
Yes.
Mr. Phipps?
Yes.
Mayor Hall?
Yes. Presentations, petitions, and communications. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for persons who desire to address the council. The Illinois Open Meetings Act mandates the city council may not take action on comments received on matters that not have been identified on this agenda, but the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the matter for action on the agenda for another meeting. Persons addressing council are requested to limit their presentations for 3 minutes and to avoid repetitious comments. We would also ask you state your name and address for the record, as well as stand when speaking. I know I've got one person that wants to come up. Does anybody else want to mention anything about for this time for the council?
I do, Gary Bulla.
Anybody online?
Yes,
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
yeah, Gary Bulla. I have one for motion number 2. If you'd like to wait until motion number 2 is discussed, perhaps.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can wait.
Yeah, we'll wait until we make that motion to get your comments.
Thank you.
Okay? All right. Okay, we got another presentation. Mr. Rhodes, Dick Rhodes? Yeah. You would come up front?
My name is Dick Rhodes, Dusty's Outdoor Media. And what I came to the council today to do is talk to you a little bit about what monument signs or gateway signs. And if you want to put through that.
Not working. Maybe get closer. Yeah, I'll try it. Well, that didn't work either. Well, there we go. We'll do it that way.
These are some examples, and if the city would like to pursue something like this, what it does is it announces the city, and there's a digital component to that. And what the digital component can do then is promote the city. We work with police chiefs and fire departments on getting out public service messages. special events, especially with the sports complex being built, announcing tournaments, festivals, things like that going on in the community. As I said, we work with the city on the design and the size of it. But typically, the size is anywhere from maybe a 10-foot by 20-foot or a 10-foot by 30-foot digital building. What we're talking about is an investment on a monument sign having probably a back-to-back digital. And Kyle and I have been talking about this since January, and we are attempting to contact the landowners where the ground east of Wendy's by the interstate. There's a triangle piece of property that they own out there that they don't use. It's just a grass area. And that's kind of the area that we're talking about possibly doing this project. As I said, it's about a $300,000 project is what this would run. So for the city, there's a lot of benefits on promoting the city. You know, if we have a weather event or missing persons, I think you can scroll through that. We get to.
Trying to see where the other slide is.
Yeah.
There we go.
There it is. But hurricane, you will have those tornadoes, winter storm warning, you know, going to ready.gov. And then there's other public
There we go.
silver alerts if you have missing persons or if you have, yeah, any type of law enforcement issue that they would want to get out, you know, they would have a number to contact so where we can automatically get that up and get their scroll. And there's that public service announcements, anything the sheriff or the city police or the fire department wants to promote. Kidney donors, you know, we do public service announcements for things like that as well. Some of the, just quickly, I want to go through our rules and regs that we have to live by as on off-premise signs. There's a difference between off-premise signs and on-premise signs. On-premise signs is where there are signs that are actually advertising the business that's on that property. Off-premise signs is what we do, and we are tightly controlled by the state and federal government, the Federal Highway Commission. All of our rules and regulations were established back in the 60s with the Lady Bird Johnson Act or the Highway Beautification Act. We're very tightly regulated on our message has to be static for 10 seconds. And it has to have an immediate change of less than 1 second. That's all programmed in. Our lighting is very, very tightly controlled by the federal standards. And it changes, the lighting changes as the lighting changes. If you, let's say you have a storm roll in, well, the lighting's not going to be the same as if you've got the sunshine. So that's all programmed into the system. We cannot have any full motion video. It's got to be a static message. And the other thing is, and this would be in the agreement with the city, but we do not accept any objectionable advertisements whatsoever.
But you do accept advertisements though? Is it?
Yes, that would be a way for us to recoup our investment.
So, guys,
So that was my question, this 300,000 estimate cost, is that your, I mean, is
Yeah.
that what you, it's
Yeah.
not what the city's, okay, gotcha.
This would be our cost.
And then who's in charge of the content? You would be?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah,
And is it just that one location we're talking about?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, our current ordinance only allows off-premise signs to be 10 by 10. When we had very little regulations on signage, we had a lot of the big billboards come into town. We strengthened the sign ordinance to basically say like a 10 by 10 is the largest off-premise sign you could have, which pretty much kind of eliminated the big billboards. Alex has put some information together that I sent to you guys, and we viewed some other cities.
Happy to answer any questions.
Right, Alex is online if you have any questions on that information, or feel free to reach out to him anytime as well. But we did want to see what some of the other cities were doing as well.
And other municipalities, any other municipalities that you have this with currently?
No, no. Some of our sister companies out in the Chicago area, which is what I was showing you, they kind of gave me the idea to present. We do have other digital billboards. We built a digital, back-to-back digital billboard in Mount Vernon, right out, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's, as you get off the interstate, there's a Hux truck stop down there. And we built one there. We just built one just outside of Effingham. And got one in Fairfield. And I actually, we just purchased another one in south of Effingham. And yeah, that's
Thank you.
so. And we work with Watchfire out of Danville for all of our digital signage.
So the location where you're anticipating locating this would not obscure the Wendy's or the businesses by visual
No.
going in?
Any other questions anybody has?
Isn't there a sign there already? Isn't there like a little island with trees?
There is.
There's a welcome to Matt Jim sign
Yeah.
on the state right of way
Yeah,
there.
that's on the state right away.
Okay.
And this couldn't be built on the state right away. It's got to be on private property.
So
We're
that's,
also very restricted as a municipality on how large that welcome sign can be, the IDOT one there. This would potentially allow us to have something a little more substantial.
so would that one stay that we have?
Probably not if we did something substantial. No, we would not want to keep that one, the littler one.
So just to clarify here and everything, so the total cost, there's no cost to the city
No,
on this at all. And then you recoup that through advertisements, and there'll be a contractual or some type of an agreement on content
yes,
of type of advertisements or what have you. Okay.
So they pay the power bill too?
yes.
Okay.
No, there would be no expense to the city whatsoever. No. And you would have full use of available slots, to advertise, whatever the city has going on.
That's going on. Okay. Interesting.
Any other questions anybody has? If not, we'll go to the next subject then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see here. The next item on the agenda is our first motion. So I move to adopt resolution number 2023-3249, adopting a civilities pledge. And get a second on that motion.
Second.
Reckon who said that? All right, Commissioner Clausen, and then comments and discussion. I'll start out by saying this is a one-sentence civility pledge that the city proposes to make. It would be signed by the council members and the mayor. This proposal comes from the Illinois Municipal League. I'm going to read it, since there's only one sentence, I'm going to read it to you. But this is an attempt to get better understanding and indeed civility between members of council members. It's probably going to even extend to the state, and I mean, it could even go to the federal level. But I'm going to read this civility pledge to everybody so you know what it is. It would say, in the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that each may have a different idea for achieving that objective. So that's the whole civility pledge. It's basically something that says we're going to cooperate, we're going to treat each other with respect. We understand that there are different opinions out there, but that's the way we want to operate the city of Mattoon. So that's what it's all about. Anybody now have other statements? Any questions?
You did a very nice job with that, Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate that. He's starting out on the right foot. See, he's quick. He always was quick.
First time we've heard that.
So, all right, roll call.
Commissioner Cox?
Yes.
Commissioner Raven?
Yes.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Mayor Hall?
Yes.
Motion to adopt special ordinance number 2023-1859, authorizing the sale of real estate owned by the municipality located at 3061 East Lake Paradise Road by public auction 10-00980-00980-000.
Can I have a second on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Phipps, and now we're going to have some discussion. We have someone, we'll start with the one online, and go ahead and state your name again, and we'll, and speak up if you would, so everybody can hear you.
Yes, my name is Gary Bola. I own the adjacent land next to the said property. I'd like to make two comments. Comment number one is if the council would consider reducing the initial bid from I think it's a little over 15,000 to a little over 6,000, the appraisal value, consistent with I think the previous procedures used by the council for selling of such property. My second comment, and I'll let that be discussed. Second comment is to consider reducing or having a no building clause potentially for the land. I think the emphasis for the city of Mattoon is to make Lake Paradise more beautiful, and I think part of that is less buildings on Lake Paradise itself. We've had our place for 3 years, and I've seen a continual increase in the emphasis of trying to beautify the area. I saw a new dock, new signs, some road improvement, and just the individuals improving the beauty of the land. And I see just more and more of that. I think making that just a natural area. And if I were to purchase it, that's what we would do with it. Make it natural native grasses, potentially a butterfly garden. I'm the chair of biological sciences at the university. And my colleagues, that's what they do. They restore land into native habitat. And I'd love to use this piece of land for that kind of thing, just to add additional beauty to the lake and more of a natural look to it. So I'd like to just have the council consider that.
You know, it might be helpful, Kyle or Jim, I don't know which one might be appropriate, to describe where that property's at on the lake.
So if you go out to Lake Paradise, the main entrance that used to be between the two ponds, the main entrance going to where the boat ramp is, if you continue down that east Paradise Road south, it'll be the first house on the right side of the road, lake side of the road.
The first property, the house has been removed.
Yes.
Right.
So it's the first property on the lake side of the road.
Right.
When you turn left where the old store was at Lake Paradise. So, okay.
I think there's
Now,
three houses, or was three houses there.
Right. So other comments that these commissioners might have.
The first thing that came to mind is, can we offer something for auction and then mandate that nothing's built on there? That seems to be a little bit of a conflict. If
I
we're going to
believe
sell it, we're going to sell it.
I believe we could do that, just like banks do that when they sell banks usually, that they'll make some kind of covenant that restriction that it can't be used as another bank or, so, I mean, I think we would have that right. I would let Dan.
No, you can, as long as you don't violate any of the other covenants that bind all the properties down there. But you can put any other condition on the sale that you want.
Good to know.
Any other questions people have?
How old is that? I noticed that the appraised value shows 6,000, but how old is that appraisal?
It's pretty old, but I don't know. Do you,
The appraisals were all put together when, like Paradises were subdivided.
Yeah.
And they started making sales. We used to have, people update appraisals when Stan Barber was still in business.
Yeah.
They would go to him, he could use the same format, they would adjust it by a small amount of money. When he stopped working, had people go get appraisals on their own, and he got pretty random.
Yeah.
Relative to the prices that we had, and stopped doing that, stuff with the price values that we had. From the original assessment of the area.
And Dean, how long does an online public auction, how many days is that, or?
I don't remember, but it's a few weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what happens is there's bidding for some amount of time, so let's say it's a week or a couple of weeks. And then at the end, whatever the highest price bid is, everyone has an opportunity then to match that bid. The stipulated price above that, where people can say, yes, I'm going to pay. If the highest bid is 6,500.
Right.
Then the auction service would say, is any of the existing bid
Mhm.
6,800? And they would specify that price. You say yes. They say yes, it'll say 7,000.
Right.
Until it stops.
Sorry, yeah, if it's supposed to be done at noon, it may not actually shut off at noon. But at noon, only the ones that have bid on it can continue to bid.
Right.
For, as long as it takes. Till there's so many minutes until there's a winner.
Okay.
As far as adding to the discussion, when Gary first contacted me about, having the out, and I looked at the property, I agree with him that the highest and best use, so to speak, would be to have a vacant lot there. That particular area, is a series of very small lots and cabins crowded together. And so in this case, certainly when I started off, my intention would be, if I could do anything I want, would be to sell it to adjacent landowners in the yard. But then, of course, counter to that, we have intentions all the time when we sell a piece of property. We want to sell it to Habitat to Humanity or Building Trades at the high school or an adjacent neighbor, like Salvation Army recently. And that's not typically covered.
Right.
And so we do auctions, and sometimes the people, unfortunately, we don't just get to. Yeah, in most cases. I'm not saying we couldn't do that here with statutes. Anyway,
We can, oh, go ahead.
through that end, because I wanted to add to agree with his comment. I think that's the best use there is. I also thought the provided by the Salvation Army, the best use would have it, but the Salvation Army have that property. And all the others, so fine.
Since I've been on, we've not really stuck to adding the demolition cost to these properties to set minimum bids. We didn't with the Western Avenue property.
Right, and I don't think we did on 33 Westwood either.
Yeah, I think we did it on
Typically,
that one.
we've just tried to get more closer to the appraisal value.
And
But
I would be inclined to maybe recoup at least the $500 auction cost and maybe amend this ordinance to have a minimum bid of the 6589 with the covenant not to build, able to build on that lot if that's doable.
To attach that covenant, we can, if we go ahead and agree to do this, we can attach that covenant after we pass this motion, right? If we add something that restricts the use of that land, can we do that after we take action on this? Or do we have to wait?
Well, I think you'd have to wait and have another action by the
Oh,
council.
yeah, I understand. But we can do that later.
But you can do that later, yeah.
Okay.
Have we restricted property out there before? I mean, lakefront property?
not that I'm aware of. So it's really just the, kind of what you guys feel like you want to do with the properties out there, do we want to encourage development out around the lake and any money that we receive with that? Do we want to try to put it into helping out the lake, repairs out there, beautification, or do we want to,
But there's really not
always
a-
been the old saying that, well, you want to keep more than 50% of the property open area for you're not polluting the lake and stuff like that. So it's really kind of what, you all want to do with the property.
But we don't have a kind of a working plan that encompasses all of the properties that could be sold, correct? So we don't have
The only plan that we really have is we did subdivide all the cabin lots out there and made lots so we could sell them, because originally they were all city property and we were just leasing
right.
square footage to different cabins.
We
And-
also have an agreement with public health not to add any additional cabins to the original number that was there when we subdivided. Because of the number of septic tanks.
And there was a house here, so we wouldn't be violating that if we just sold it as is with no restrictions, but reduce the price, right? Good.
So within this covenant, if another neighbor bought it or somebody else bought it, could they just put a storage unit up there to put junk in? Is that part of reading this covenant? It was kind of, I'm not an attorney, so it was kind of confusing. So could I buy it and put a shed out there and store junk on it?
You would have to sort of,
Well, yeah.
and I'm saying that because a lot of people have two properties across the road from each other. It's,
Right.
and so I have to say based on that,
So you can do that throughout that area anyway.
yes.
So potentially we could take a nice piece of property and, no offense, have another Quackenbush factory. Or another, which is what we're trying to avoid.
I think my thoughts on this, for Mr. Bulla and then Dean's comments, I think that could really be a nice look for that property. My question would be directed to the city attorney. If we do this, does that set any type of precedent going forward where somebody wants to come in and they're in a res lot and then they bring that to the council and then we say, no, we're not going to approve that. And they say, well, you did that back on May 16th or June 4th, whatever, whenever we would vote on this. Is there any precedent setting that would affect the decision we make on this? And I'll leave that up for Dan if he's.
Well, you are. Someone can always come back and say, we did this for this particular property. Won't you do it for me? Are you bound by it? I don't think you're bound by it.
Okay.
Make decisions on a property by property basis.
And if someone owned a lot out there, but they put it up for sale, they could actually, since they own that lot, they could put a stipulation on selling that property. It could only be you could prohibit the use of putting something on it,
Right.
just like we do with any property.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So someone, they wouldn't have to come to us. They could do that on their own.
As long as they live by the covenants that
Right.
exist already. So, yeah.
And the state laws or whatever.
And then.
Whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Got it.
Any other discussion?
Like I said, I would make a motion to adjust this for down to the 6589 and the restriction for no building,
Put the strict, now,
which
Dan said we could
We
put
have
a
to
restriction on it separately if we want to. You could do that now if we wanted
Do you
to.
want to include it?
We could amend this, right?
we did that would be the 65.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could do it right now, according to our attorney, or we could do it later at the next meeting or whatever. If we know what kind of,
We'll do it now.
you're suggesting that.
I'd be okay with a reduced price. I'm not comfortable with the restriction simply because it's a lakefront property. There was a house on it, and there, chances are could be another house on it that would be on the tax rolls, potentially. I don't know if you could build on it or not, but if there was one on there before,
Yeah.
there might have been two on there before. I don't know that.
It would not be on our tax rolls, though, right?
Need to be on the county.
Yeah. So the county would get taxes from it.
City wouldn't, right?
No.
We would not.
So it's not really going to affect the city all that much.
So are you making a proposal then?
I'm making
Okay,
a,
so let's see if we understand what we're doing here.
Please read
You want
that.
to restrict, you want to amend the motion to
To reduce-
restrict the use,
well, restrict the building,
put no buildings on it.
yeah, with a reduced minimum bid for 6,589.
Okay. Okay, so now let's move forward on that. So now we have
So you
to,
need a second.
So you need a second for that motion.
Okay, and the amendment.
okay. Can I have a second on the amendment then?
I'll second.
A second? Okay. Now we're going to vote. Any further discussion on that?
I think I would like to, yeah, I'm okay with the reduced minimum bid. But I think we're getting the cart before the horse here a little bit. I'd like to look at the whole property issue around the lake as a whole, and maybe look at this a little further before, and I'm okay approving the sale of it, and may very well be okay with not building on it, but I think if that is something that we could look at for the next 2 weeks, maybe put it on the next council agenda, I would be more comfortable doing that.
Well, right now, though, we have a motion.
Well, I can
And we-
change that.
Okay.
So
He just wants more time.
that's fine. If there's, to do this, then we're not bound by a time frame as far as getting this to public auction, right? We just approve it go to auction.
Right. Yeah, it just that we can advertise it for auction. That doesn't mean we have to do it tomorrow or 30 days
We
from now.
could just take it off the agenda and
Yeah.
further discuss it for 2 weeks or.
And any two commissioners can put it on the next meeting if they want to, or the mayor can, as a motion, right?
I mean, if we're all in agreement to reduce the price, we might as well at least do that much of it.
Okay. So how do we we amend the motion without another second? Do we have to vote that motion down because we already seconded it?
Yeah, you've motioned in the second, I say.
You have to vote on that and then make
Yep,
another.
vote on the
amendment.
amendment
Okay, so,
as
yeah.
Sandy read it.
Okay, so we've had a second, we've had our discussion. We're going to vote on the amendment you made, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I want to do roll call on that amended motion.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
No.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
No.
Mayor Hall.
No. Okay, so that amended motion fails. Now, if you want to make another motion, Sandy, just,
I would make a amended motion to reduce the minimum bid to $6,589.
okay. And a second on that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Any just further discussion now? Now we're only voting on the change in the price right now. And if there's other things coming down the road, then that'll have to come for another council meeting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's, if there's no other discussion, we'll vote on the latest amended motion.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Okay, so that amended motion passes.
So we need to,
Now you gotta do the original to authorize
as
the,
amended.
authorize to sell the property document as amended.
Yeah. Okay, so that's another motion.
No, we've made the motion
Made
and
the motion.
Okay, we got to vote on
so
that.
just
Oh,
a
you did?
roll call.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Now we can go on to the next one. All right, who's next?
Motion to approve council decision request 2023-2359, approving the consultant fees in the amount of $29,610 from Clark Dietz for the completion of the IEPA low interest loan application process for the wastewater treatment plant primary digester project and authorizing the mayor to sign the professional services agreement.
And a second on that motion.
I'll second.
I'll go to Commissioner Cox with a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Motion to approve council decision request 2023-2360, approving the design fees in the amount of $34,660 from Clark Dietz for the Phase 2 wastewater treatment plant primary pump replacement and authorizing the mayor to sign the professional services agreement.
A second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Phipps, and any comments on that? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Motion to approve council decision request 2023-2361, approving the design fees in the amount of $34,940 from Clark Dietz for the wastewater treatment plant primary clarifier rehab project and authorizing the mayor to sign the professional services agreement.
And a second on that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Cox, any comments, questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Now we come to four motions, the reason why most of the people are here. I move to approve council decision request 2023-2362, approving the promotion of Lieutenant Ryan Coop to the rank of captain in the Mattoon Police Department effective May 20th, 2023, due to the retirement of Captain Jason Cobb. And a second on that motion.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Commissioner Phipps, and any comments on that? Anybody over here?
I'll wait till you finish.
You'll wait?
Wait, complete all four, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But I don't normally give people a chance to speak at these, usually only when I hire you. But if anybody wants to speak, once they got promoted, I'll let you do that, okay? I probably won't have anybody. Okay, so, all right, roll call.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. I move to approve council decision request 2023-2363, approving the promotion of Sergeant Scott Robinson to the rank of lieutenant in the Mattoon Police Department effective May 20th, 2023. And a second on that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Cox, and any comments on that? You're waiting? Okay, so roll call.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. I move to approve council decision request 2023-2364, approving the promotion of Officer Benjamin DeBure to the rank of sergeant in the Mattoon Police Department effective May 20th, 2023. And a second on that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Cox wins that one. And roll call.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Now, is that the last of the promotion? Oh, what are we on?
Nine.
One more.
I move to approve council decision request approving the promotion of Officer Brett Hall to the rank of sergeant of the Mattoon Police Department effective May 20th, 2023, due to the retirement of Sergeant Adams Jenkins. And a second on that motion.
Second.
And that was Commissioner Clausen, and
He's new.
roll call on that.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Raven.
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
All right.
Comments?
Yeah.
It's sleeping.
Hey, Cora, want to stand up for me, please? So I think it's always a special time when we have promotions within the department, but these four, I think, is a special group. All four of them are great leaders within our department. You have their fellow officers that look up to them, as you can tell. There's several officers here to support them. I don't think I had one show up for one of my promotions, so that does a lot. Again, they're very well respected. This is huge for our department. I think it's a big step it's huge for the city of Mattoon. So these four are very, very solid officers and individuals. So congratulations.
And I'll add that he's not just saying that in public because he told me that in my office earlier today too, is how great the department is right now. So
He didn't tell me that about those four guys. It's a whole different story, just so you guys know. So, yeah, congratulations, everybody.
Absolutely.
That's very good. And we're ready to go on to the next items, and I think I've got the next one. I move to approve council decision request 2023-2365,
66.
request 2023-2366, approving the purchase of one 2023 Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle, all-wheel drive squad vehicle in the amount of $40,455 from Marl Brothers in Greenville. Can I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Graven, and any comments?
we had that in the budget. We also had a pickup truck in the budget that we're having a little problems getting on the lot. So there will be another purchase of a truck vehicle at a later date.
Okay. Any other comments? Roll call.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Raven.
Yes.
Mr. Phipps.
Yes.
Mr. Clausen.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
I move to approve council decision request 2023-2367, approving a $6,000 grant by the Tourism Advisory Board Committee from FY 23-24 Hotel Motel Tax Funds in support of the EIU Athletics for hosting the IHSA Girls and Boys Track and Field Meets to be held May 18th through the 20th, 2023, and May 25th to the 27th, 2023 respectively, and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement.
And
This evening.
a second on that motion.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Phipps, and any comments on that?
Longstanding tourism event partnership with EIU. It's one of the biggest, probably the biggest tourism event that we've had for years. Brings a lot of people and their families into town for the track meet 2 consecutive weekends. Restaurants, hotels will be overflowing, and the business community loves these 2 weekends. So
Great. Okay, roll call. Do we do that?
Yeah, no. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Mr. Clausen.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
yes.
Mr. Raven.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
I move to approve council decision request 2023-2368, approving a $5,531 grant by the Tourism Advisory Committee from FY 23-24 Hotel Motel Tax Funds in support of the Lake Mattoon Sailing Association for hosting the Lake Mattoon Riviera Regatta to be held June 2nd through the 4th, 2023, and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement.
And a second on that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Clausen, and any comments?
Another great event that's been held for many, many years out at Lake Mattoon, and brings a whole different kind of feel to the area with different people and events around the lake. So another great event we're happy to support.
Okay, roll call?
Mr. Clausen.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Graven.
Yes.
Mr. Phipps.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
A motion to approve council decision request 2023-2369, awarding the hot mix asphalt bid in the amount of $92 a ton from Nico Asphalt Company for street maintenance.
Okay, and second on that motion,
Second.
Commissioner Cox. And any comments on that?
I would like to make a quick comment. So this is the bid for the asphalt workers used this summer. Even more interesting, we had a bid opening at that same time for concrete. And there are 2 concrete plants in town. They are not locking any prices in with anybody. And there's no better, I don't think, state with the current flood of money, construction, or get the impacts of the current flood of money in the construction industry, infrastructure work. Then the fact that the prices are so volatile on the basic ingredients that go into making concrete that they're not locking in prices for, not just for us, not for cities, not for contractors, no matter how big or small. It's very interesting situation we're in.
I probably have never seen that before, have you?
Any other comments? Roll call.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Graven.
Yes.
Mr. Phipps.
Yes.
Mr. Clausen.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Next part of the meeting is department head reports, starting with City Administrator Kyle Gill.
It's been a busy last couple of weeks. Had several personnel and staffing meetings. We've had interviews for open positions. Like I said, it's just been very busy. I've been gathering information and submitting information for an EDP grant for infrastructure for streets out around the sports complex and the development area out there. So that got sent to IDOT, I believe, today. So continue to work on several different items, economic development wise, and I'm sure Alex will touch more on that in his discussions later on. But that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Any questions?
What, been hearing a lot here last week or so about the trash cans.
Yeah.
Of the various providers.
So yeah,
What's the latest on the development of the new, I hope it's not the new normal, so to
Yeah.
speak, you know.
Waste management, of course, everybody's having problems getting staffing, so they've been trying to change the way they're doing their business. And Howard's was looking at that before Howard's went out of business as well. They were looking at going to trucks that may go out and pick up the containers themselves, so they only have one person on a truck. To do that, the garbage containers need to be out on the roadside. They don't have enough room in the alley to do that. There's several things. Some of the alleys are too narrow. Cable TV and power lines in the alley sometimes affect it. So they're
Is that with their current equipment or with the new equipment if they go that
a
route?
little bit of both. I think they have some of the newer equipment already, but they're all wanting it. Not all. Waste management is wanting to go to that type of a truck. It's hard to talk to someone at Waste Management. I've been trying to reach out to get a little better idea of what their plans are, but they are hard to contact and get to the right person. As far as putting them out on the street, we do have a city ordinance that says the containers can only be out there for the day that the trash pickup is. Otherwise, it can be written up as a nuisance. We don't have the problems in the neighborhoods like Lane Acres South or Augusta Lakes, country clubs, but I think the biggest issue that I think we're getting complaints about is Charleston Avenue, Broadway, maybe Marshall Avenue. They've been doing it on the north side of DeWitt for several years. There's no alleys on the north side of DeWitt from 21st to 32nd. So, I mean, it's not really a traffic issue, so to speak. I mean, people will get used to it because they're doing that every day, every week right now on DeWitt. So It is kind of educating the people. I've had several calls this last couple weeks. I've told people, you know, if you and your neighbors don't really like the containers out front, you can talk to different providers. There are providers that are still picking up in the alley, so they have choices if they really want to, you know, change the look at it. But that's one thing we do need to get out, and I will talk to Rob Stroud about getting in the paper that the containers are only supposed to be out on the road right away, and the boulevards or the street just the day of trash pickup.
It's a 24-hour period, right? The two windows.
It doesn't really say 24, but it says the day of service pickup. Yeah.
So last Thursday, when I drove down DeWitt at a little before 12, there were 6 trash bins literally on the road. I don't think Waste Management put them there. I think this was the homeowner. Over the weekend, there were 32 trash containers along DeWitt that were still there on the weekend. So they're supposed to move them back off the boulevard, correct?
Supposed to be taking them back up onto their property.
On their property.
Yeah.
Correct.
No sidewalk, no
But
boulevard.
they're not even supposed to be in the road for pickup purposes at all, correct? They were against the curb, but they were literally in the road.
The ordinance doesn't really specify where, it just says on public right of way, so. You know, yeah, it probably should be right there on the boulevard, not on the roadway, but.
I could also see this being an issue for us. I mean, we're overwhelmed with public nuisances as it is, and we can't be the trash police too. They do the job, not complain, so I'm speaking for myself. But I mean, it's hard to keep up on the everyday public nuisance that we already have. So I could see this becoming an issue if we promote that this is a one-day issue, and if it's not, you can be cited, and then all of a sudden, 2 dozen phone calls on trash days or the day after. So just FYI.
I think a lot of it's just trying to educate everybody and then trying to find out, work a solution out with Waste Management if we can as well.
Right. Yeah, we'll have to work through that, notifying people. There's going to be a change for some people, and
And I think I think a lot of people are making changes
yeah.
to other companies. So.
Is it too late for comment? Just real quick on this.
Sure.
Keep it brief.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lloyd Blackburn, 1000 Lafayette. I am personally going to switch from Waste Management to Premier Disposal so that they pick it up in the alley. But on the invoice for Waste Management, it's stated that they're going to charge $75 to come back and pick up this bin. Plus, gas, plus environmental fee, plus. So it said unless there's a law, or I forget how it's phrased, but unless there was something prohibiting them from charging that. So I didn't know if the council might want to look at that, because a lot of people, as they're trying to get out of this, Waste Management has already delivered the bins. You can't get a hold of Waste Management. It's terrible. And, a lot of people are low income. They put the bin there, like, now you owe us $75 to get out of our service. So just something to think about, be aware of. Because that's another one of the reasons I'm changing, because I'm not paying to get out of your service. I'm paying for your service.
Yeah.
Good point.
I wasn't aware of that.
And there might be something to consider. I just heard about it before the meeting started, so.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
It's also worth noting that Mel's, I just heard today, is not accepting new customers. So that might be a little rough for some folks in terms of options.
Mel's.
Neither is CCSI. I was waitlisted for them and got lucky. I swear, no, they're not Premier.
Premier is still
I've
taking.
called Premier
Yeah.
7 times this week and opposed me every single time.
So I sent them an email, and they said that their phones have just been bombarded because of this Waste Management debacle.
Right.
Premier said, just respond to the email and then get me set up.
They've also, I think, had some telephone issues themselves just with their,
Busy every time.
they've had some technical difficulties with their phones.
We've talked to Premier, or at least I have. I know other commissioners have too, I think. They want the business. It's just that they've got hit so hard by a lower rate than Waste Management, better service, answering their phones, They're just trying to get caught up. But I think they're going to want the business and they're going to be highly successful as a result of that, would be my guess. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So we're trying to work through this ourselves. This all happened to us. Any other questions?
Well,
Go ahead.
Mr. Blackburn made a good point, and I did ask to the council earlier, because I had heard that same thing. I don't have waste management, but I'd heard from a couple others about that $75 fee. So is that something we can look into about the?
I'll look at it.
Because I agree with you. I don't know if it's legally something that they can charge, but it's bad business. And there are people low income that can't afford that. And it seems like they've gotten locked into something that they may not have realized they were getting locked into.
I'll look at it.
Yeah.
I've not seen this letter yet either, so.
Would you like me to bring it up to you? Yeah.
But no, I'll see it. I'll get it. He said,
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet either.
All right. Any other questions here on this one? Ready to go on the city attorney, Dan Jones?
oh, I don't have anything new to report. Otherwise, it's been quite a couple weeks for me, so happy to answer questions about anything.
Okay. Any questions for our city attorney? City clerk, Susan, Brian?
Pretty well, business as usual. I have nothing new to report.
Nothing new to report. Okay, finance director, Beth Wright?
So I distributed the April 2023 financial report. For both 12 months, I would just note that the prior year numbers are audited numbers. And the fiscal 23 numbers are before any accruals or reversal of prior year accruals. Basically cash basis versus accrual base. General fund total revenues, just under 25 million, and expenditures, just over 23 million. Do have yet to pay the back pay for the contract that was settled. That's going to decrease that surplus you're seeing there. Cash position citywide, relatively flat between this month and last month. Revenue tracking for the month of May. What's coming thus far. For the major sources, there's a decrease from the prior year of 128,000. One of the larger items is the income tax. I think there's a story in the Journal Gazette this morning about the state revenue and income tax collections are down. Sales tax is up over the prior year, which is a good thing for us. Unrestricted cash in the general fund, as of today, 11.1 million. And 10.9. Met with the new auditors last week. They'll be starting the field work in July. And I have to have documentation to them by June 23rd. I think they'll be good to work with. And then I would just mention that there's been a lot of discussion in the news about the ARPA funds and the potential clawback as part of this debt ceiling negotiation. I did see that the president said he's in agreement with some of the proposals. I've looked for guidance and found very little. So I guess the devil's in the detail. But I will just bring that to your attention.
Okay.
That's all I have to report.
Any questions for Beth?
I got a question on the sales tax revenue for the current month or last month, 594,000. Does that include the 1% business district tax?
Does not.
It does not. Okay.
This is general fund revenue.
Okay.
And the business district is separate.
Okay.
We're accumulating that until the bonds close, and then we'll bring that over to the trustee.
Okay.
Good question.
Any other questions?
Will we get a report on that?
On what they are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it was 95,000, 94,000.
Yeah.
The first month was 97,000, and I think it was 94,000. So
For January, February.
January, February, yep.
Any other questions? All right, going on to Public Works. Dean Barber?
I will finish the fire hydrant replacements that we're getting that Charleston had there. Part of that work was changing out of the hydrants. All of the top part of it was moving fire hydrants that were in conflict with the IDOT. That was my day. The June letting was the IDOT projects to be bid in June was just announced recently. That project was not on the letting. The next available letting is in August, and so it does not look like they're going to be starting ever for this year. Even if they bid it in August, it takes them 60 days to make their bid award, which you be in mid-October, and very unlikely. So I'll start working.
So, I mean, there's, at this point, there's really no indication when they're going to start this project.
I've stopped putting in my report which letting schedule. I'm just going to tell you when the next letting. Yes.
Yeah.
Very
Okay. All right, any questions for Dean? Next is Fire Chief Jeff Hilligoss.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start out by congratulating you four. I've had the privilege to work side by side with all four of them in different aspects or another, whether it be CRT on day-to-day calls, and congratulations, well deserved. You ought to be very proud. We got a great group of them.
They make us look good.
Since our last meeting, my guys have answered 131 calls for service. Inspectors have done 3 inspections, done their EMS training. We did an additional training. Carl Clinic reached out. They have that mobile MRI machine that they have a new plan should there be a fire in that, mobile machine that we were fortunate enough they included us in that training. We had 3 schools that got their mandated state school drills done by the end of the year. We had got Zach Dye finished the paramedic program. He graduated last May, had his pinning ceremony. Sorry, it's been a very long day. Last Wednesday. So they now have dates to challenge the National Registry exam that he's getting scheduled and lined up. So we'll have a new paramedic on the streets soon. And then this morning, a little before 4 a.m., we had a structure fire at 1608 Richmond, which I would like to thank Public Works, the inspections office, Kyle, while I was trying to organize that, the fire was very well involved. And to do our investigation, we needed to pull the walls down, start bringing that building down. Public Works was great, down there with backhoes. Inspections, Steve and Tom were trying to call to get dumpsters lined up, and dealing with trash services in the area, we could not get any dumpsters today. So we have fenced that off, and to get in to pinpoint and look at what potentially could have started that fire. We have an area of what room it started in, but we're going to start, removing that, putting it in dumpsters and getting rid of it. I didn't want to just pull it out, leave it laying there for the homeowner to clean up, because that would be a very long process. So thank you, Dean, for your guys' file. PD was down there looking at some security cameras for me. So all around city effort to assist me today, and I greatly appreciate it. So that is all I've got.
Jeff, where we at on, you mentioned another paramedic. What's that put us at?
I'm at 24 and that overall.
Right.
Oh, you're gonna make me think. I think that's 14 will be 14 paramedics.
Okay.
I can get you a firm answer.
It's all right. Just curious. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Jeff? All right, next is the very capable fill-in for our chief, Deputy Chief Ryan Hurst.
Big shoes. I'll make it quick. The last 2 weeks, the guys and gals have made 66 arrests and responded to approximately 950 calls of service. One highlight was, that's going on recently. Flock cameras, 2 flock cameras were installed, and we're utilizing those. They're pretty neat. I feel like put on the uniform again and being a cop. They'll all make fun of me that I'm not a cop anymore, so it'd be nice to put on the uniform. It's probably going to be one of the best investments the city has made. But just 2 cameras, the things that we're already seeing it's going to be very beneficial for the city. So thank you for that. That's all I have.
Very good. Any questions for Ryan? Okay, arts and tourism, not here, but I think.
Angelia's on. She's on.
Excuse me, Angelia?
Yes, I'm
Go
here.
ahead.
Okay. We have a lot going on. It's a busy season for us. But 2 things I want to highlight. We had artworks this last weekend and a beautiful day for it. There's a lot of activity downtown. The park looked amazing, and we just had a lot of really good feedback from the community with music and art vendors and food trucks, and just a good festival. And then previously on Friday, the 5th of May, we had Bagel Bites, our first one. We had around 500 people there for the music and the food, and about 200 of the festival district cups were sold at local restaurants. So there were some extra funds generated for our local restaurants during that time from 5 to 8. And we have our next one on June the 2nd. And that's all I've got.
Any questions for Angelia? Hearing none, let's see, we're going to community development. Is Alex on?
Yep.
Alex, it's
Yes,
all
I'm
yours.
Perfect. Yeah, so our AmeriCorps NCCC concept form was officially accepted, and we've been invited to apply for AmeriCorps members to build trails out at Lake Paradise. Quite a few community partnerships are developing between the city and nonprofits as a result of this project. Yesterday, we also submitted our application to the Boat Accessibility Area Development Program through IDNR. Really want to give a shout out to John over at Lake Mattoon. He got over 104 signatures from residents to be able to support this project, to get a ADA accessible kayak launch out there. Earlier, we met with a very motivated housing developer last week to begin developing plans for potential subdivision on city property out by Old State Road. New development is also planned across from Dunkin' Donuts within the mall's parking lot. It's a drive-through oil change station that would potentially also have a restaurant developed alongside it. Working on IDA's community revitalization partnership. It's off to a great start. They're getting us an app for housing stock survey and a market analysis, and helping us with a community and commuter survey as in regards to housing. It's going to be invaluable. Once we have that data, we'll be able to just kind of cut and paste it into grant applications, which is going to significantly increase our competitiveness to be able to acquire funds related to housing at both the regional, state, and federal level. And I'm going to be asking Coles County Regional Planning to help us apply for the Strong Communities Grant Program, more housing stuff. Officially meeting with the land bank, I believe tomorrow or the next day. I think it's tomorrow. And then community development. Last thing, we're looking at a couple of code enforcement and permitting software demonstrations next week. Currently, our office is operating on institutional memory, and is one of my goals as director to transition us to something more sustainable and data focused, so that, you know, we can really address, you know, code issues in the community and create a great place even better than it already is. So that's all I got, unless there's any questions.
Question for Alex? Been busy, doing a lot of things? All good. Okay, thanks, Alex. The last thing is council comments, starting with Jim Lawson.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Just again, congratulations to the 4 officers on your promotions, well deserved. This past weekend, Mattoon, very, very busy. We had 2 tournaments. We had a baseball tournament out of Lawson with both fields being used. And then we had a large softball tournament at the complex. Actually, I think both complexes were being used. Total of over 50 to 55 teams, a lot of them from out of town. We had a car show last Saturday at Peterson, and then, as Angelia mentioned, the artworks downtown last Saturday. So we had a lot of people coming into our town, and I think, and it's kind of the goal of this council. Everything seems real vibrant right now, and maybe it's, you know, people are coming in here and saying, you know, we want to live in Mattoon, and these events may draw people to where they want to settle here. And then I think Alex has touched on it, but, you know, we continue to look at additional housing opportunities, a strong police presence, as we talked about, and then something else that Ryan mentioned, just, you know, keeping our town cleaned up. I know it's tough with all the nuisance and I hear a lot of complaints about grass and properties, but I think once we tie in, you know, there's just, in my world, there's just a lot of good things going on, and it may add to people wanting to relocate here. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Any questions? Let's go then to Sandy. No.
Dave.
Yeah, Dave. First. Dave, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. I was just going to let Sandy go first.
I'll make it quick, but congratulations to the officers. Very well deserved. Congratulations. But I would like to take a moment and congratulate and thank the family members that are here for our officers. It probably doesn't get said often enough, but you're a critical part of the police department and what they do, and the support that you give them when they go to work every day and come home at night. So thank you very much, and congratulations to the family members here as well.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions? I noticed that Ryan's wife is punching him when he said off and got off. I saw that. She said, see, remember I do a part of this. So now I'll go to Sandy.
I just want to say congratulations to the 4 of you guys. Well deserved. I can't say enough about Mattoon, but I know the police department, fire department, public works, we all do a great job keeping our city safe and clean. So that's really all I have.
Yes. Okay, then we have Commissioner Phipps.
Congrats. Well deserved. We have a few coming up, employee vacancies in the public works. We already have some vacancies, and then we also have a retirement coming up. So we'll be doing some interviews over the next number of weeks, and that's all I have.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Commissioner Phipps? Just a couple comments I might have here is this afternoon I attended a bond analyst committee meeting, and tomorrow morning we start selling bonds for phase 1 of our sports complex. And that appears to, they're very positive about the way this is progressing. So just another step that we take to move forward with this project, which is a very big project. and an indication of all the things we have going on in our community, and by the help of everybody that, I think Commissioner Clausen did a very good job of saying, you know, it's a team effort. Police department plays a role, fire department plays a role, even though it's a very small role, but, just kidding, the MI, just kidding. You guys appreciate that, don't you? Yeah. Oh, they all play an important role. Yeah. Well, you've been beat up all day. I mean, it's been a long day, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I take that back. No, everything is going good. Everything's going real well. We're getting a lot done. So I appreciate that. And with that, I think we can ask for a.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. And roll call.
Nope, I need a second.
I'll second
Oh,
that.
seconds. Who seconded that? Commissioner Phipps. Now roll call.
Commissioner Graven. No. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
That concludes the meeting.
Being adjourned.
Yes.
Yeah, we had good discussion.